Hey, beloved St. Barts, just want to do a quick recap of the Grand Inquisitor that we've been going through the last 3 Sundays, largely because we broke it up into 3 parts. So if you missed 1 or 2 Sundays, I'd like to fill in the gaps a little bit and provide in this e-news the text that I read from, but also a really good dramatization, a Shakespearean style dramatization of this. It's again a piece of fiction written by Fyodor Dostoevsky in 1880, but it's a commentary, an artistic and philosophical commentary on the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness. And the reason that we read it this year, and I chose to do that, is because the first gospel in Lent is always the temptation of Jesus. So just a quick recap of what's going on in this, a little elucidation of why I thought it would be compelling to read as we look at the temptation of Jesus. Because the Grand Inquisitor says this in the text about the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness. In 3 words, 3 human phrases, the entire future history of the world and mankind is summarized. Do you suppose that all the great wisdom of earth, having united together, would be able to invent anything at all, even more remotely equivalent in power and depth, as those 3 questions that were actually put to you that day by the mighty and clever spirit in the wilderness? Now, he's referring to the devil as the mighty and clever spirit in the wilderness. He's asking Jesus that. Do you think there are 3 better questions that summarize the bent, twisted nature of the human heart than those 3 questions? And how that has shaped the way people are led, governed, organized into communities throughout all of history. The Grand Inquisitor says this: it is as if in those 3 questions there is co-joined into a single whole and prophesied the entire subsequent history of humankind. There are manifested the 3 images in which all unresolved historical contradictions of human nature throughout all the earth will coincide. He says this in another place: the secret of human existence doesn't consist in living merely, but in what one lives for. And then jumping in and kind of attacking Jesus, he says, instead of taking mastery of people's freedom, you augmented it and saddled the spiritual kingdom of humankind with freedom forever. Like, he's saying that as a bad thing. You gave people freedom forever by rejecting the devil. Continuing, you desired that humankind's love should be free and that they should follow you freely, enticed and captivated by you. Henceforth, in place of the old firm law, humankind was themselves to decide with a free heart what is good and what is evil, with only your image to guide them. And then he is talking about, just as Jesus didn't want to throw himself down off the temple in the 3rd temptation to prove that he was the Messiah, because God would not let him be dashed against a stone, Jesus didn't agree to come down off the cross. People taunted him at the cross. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross. And the Grand Inquisitor says this to him about not coming down off the cross. You did not come down because, again, you did not want to enslave people with a miracle. And because you thirsted for a faith that was free, not miraculous. What he's saying there is, if Jesus had done miracles right before people's very eyes, it's kind of like forcing them to believe in him. Look, I've done this miracle. You have to believe I'm God and the Son of God. There's indisputable proof. But what the Grand Inquisitor says, continuing to Jesus, is, you thirsted for a love that was free, not for servile ecstasies like a slave, that are obligated before your might to dread you once and for all. What he's essentially trying to say through the Grand Inquisitor is, look, if people are following you because you can give them bread, turn stones into bread, they have to follow you. How could they not? But Jesus rejects that kind of followership. If you accept all the kingdoms of the world and all of earthly power, but it comes at the cost of sacrificing your soul by worshiping the devil, what kind of power is that? And Jesus rejects that offer. And then Jesus rejects enslaving us to follow him by doing a miracle to prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that he's God, which would completely eliminate trust and a need for faith. So that's a quick recap of the Grand Inquisitor. I just wanted to share a little bit too why I find it a compelling commentary on the temptation of Jesus in the wilderness. Because the overarching theme is that Jesus was tempted in the wilderness for 40 days to prepare for his ministry. But the three specific things that the scriptures tell us that he rejected are because he wanted us to love him freely, to worship him freely, to be captivated by him, to know that the only thing he wants from us is our free desire to love him because he freely loves us. So I hope that helps. I hope that having the text or the video of this and the e-news is helpful to you as well. Blessed Lent, friends.